Welcome, everybody, to episode 8 on the Vocal Coach Debbie channel. I'm Debbie, and welcome to the episode where we are going to do a storytelling and performance analysis of Coffee Homeground by Kate Bush. And thanks to previous commenter Golden Bells 314 for requesting more Kate Bush. And you can be sure we're not done with Kate Bush. So here on these streams where we do the performance analysis and the storytelling analysis, there's a couple of things to know about these streams. And by the way, if you want to check out more of what I'm up to, check out vocalcoachdebbie.com. So what's up with these streams? No, this is not Vocal Coach listens to a song and goes, oh wow, oh my gosh, oh this is so great. No, we are going to dive deep into the meaning of the song and the story the song is trying to tell and how performance and singing and vocal style choices help tell that story. Because my goal is for you to think about how you can bring more storytelling into your singing, whether it's karaoke or musical theater or opera or playing in a band or being a singer-songwriter. Bring that storytelling into your performance. Number 2, I'm not a better singer than the original. I am going to sing a bit during the stream, but just to give some examples or make a point, I am not trying to say that I can do a better job of any of these songs. I'm just singing to make some examples. Number 3, I am not going to play the song all the way through. We are going to hear the song in pieces. I've got 2 different versions we'll hear tonight. I strongly recommend looking up the original Kate Bush song. Again, it's Coffee Homeground, and it is from her second album, Lionheart. Check out the original, check out live versions, check out other people's covers of it. Really deep dive into the song if you end up curious about it. Certainly a great song. So as usual, we start these streams with reading the lyrics so that we can understand what is the story that the song is telling. So let me bring that in. This is from the KateBushEncyclopedia.com website, and this one, although it has some incorrect spellings, we've got some little story behind how Kate wrote the song. It was inspired by a cab driver I met who was a bit nutty, and it's just a song about someone who thinks they're being poisoned by another person. They think there's belladonna in their tea, and that whenever they offer them something to eat, it's got poison in it. And it's just a humorous aspect of paranoia, really. I guess if there is one, and we sort of done it in a Brechtian style, the old sort of German vibe, to try and bring across the humor side of it. So she's talking about Bertolt Brecht, and the music was very often written by Kurt Weill. That is another rabbit hole you can go down on YouTube. Kurt Weill. Weill is spelled W-E-I-L-L. You might know Three Penny Opera. You might know the old Doors song, Show Me the Way to the Next Whiskey Bar, or whatever that was. They wrote that one too. And they tend to be, the style was called Weimar Cabaret for the Weimar region of Germany. And these types of songs have 4 key elements. I looked this up. I've got some notes. We've got Sprechstimme or Sprechgesang, which is where you're kind of talking more than you're singing. So things end up getting spoken in places. You've got very theatrical songs like they belong in a play or a musical. And very often they do. You get some dissonant and purposeful ugliness or weird harmony. And you want the audience to kind of be aware that this is a performance. And there's also a note here that Kate is borrowing the sound of Lenya Lotte, who sang many of these songs, I think, in the 30s. But again, that is another rabbit hole that you are welcome to go down. There's a few references in the song that are words or people you may or may not know. There's a reference to Hawley Harvey Crippen, who was an American doctor who murdered his wife in 1910 with an overdose of hyoscine. So I am unfamiliar with what that is, but it's the whole idea of someone who poisoned someone and evidently didn't get away with it. And Kate does make a number of mentions of poisons. We talk about belladonna, which is a poison. Arsenic is mentioned in the song. It's a poison. Hemlock, also a poison, famously killed Socrates. And there's also a reference to bitter almonds, and that's because that is a real forensic detail that supposedly when there is cyanide, I haven't messed with any cyanide, but supposedly cyanide can smell of bitter almonds, as some people describe. So let's go through the words and let's take a look at the story that this is telling about the paranoid person who thinks that someone might be trying to poison them or others. And this is Coffee Homeground. So the lyrics are, down in the cellar, you're getting into making poison. You slipped some on the side into my glass of wine, and I don't want any coffee Homeground. Offer me a chocolate, no thank you. Spoil my diet, know your game. But tell me just how come they smell of bitter almonds. It's a no-no to your coffee Homeground. Pictures of Crippen, lipstick smeared, torn wallpaper. Have the walls got ears here? Well, you won't get me with your belladonna in the coffee, and you won't get me with your arsenic in the pot of tea, and you won't get me in a hole to rot with your hemlock on the rocks. Where are the plumbers who went missing here on Monday? There was a tall man with his companion, and I bet you gave them coffee Homeground. Maybe you're lonely and only want a little company, but keep your recipes for the rats to eat. May they rest in peace with coffee Homeground. Well, you won't get me with your belladonna in the coffee, and you won't get me with your arsenic in the pot of tea, and you won't put me in a 6-foot plot with your hemlock on the rocks. You won't get me with your belladonna in the coffee, and you won't get me with your arsenic in the pot of tea, and you won't get me in a hole to rot with your hemlock on the rocks. With your hemlock on the rocks. And then she's got some lyrics in German to really push the whole Weimar style. Noch ein Glas, mein Liebchen, which I've got a translation of here somewhere, which is one more glass, my darling. With your hemlock on the rocks. Es schmeckt wunderbar. It tastes wonderful. And then I think she says, und dann sterb ich wohl, which is, and then I'll probably die. So those are the lyrics. So obviously we've got a story here. We have drama, we have theater. We don't have a very subtle story here. This is right out there. And this is obviously a paranoid person who believes or knows that someone is poisoning people. But we have an interesting element here, and that is something that is sometimes called the unreliable narrator. It's something that is used in sometimes books, TV shows, movies, where you have a narrator, but you find out later the narrator was wrong. The narrator was hallucinating. The narrator was unwell. I don't want to give away any famous spoilers here, but maybe Fight Club, unreliable narrator. So we have the unreliable narrator in that we don't know if this person has any evidence or any proof, but they certainly are very suspicious, and they assume that because they haven't seen the plumbers lately, they must have been poisoned and dead. But we don't know this. And so, like many songs we talk about in this series, we really don't totally know what the story is. We just have this person's suspicions. So I'm going to put on my headphones. You can put on yours. And I'm going to play just pieces of this. And I am going to stop it in places and talk about things I'm hearing. You might hear something different than what I hear. There's no right or wrong. I want to know what you hear too. Put it in the comments. So let's flip over. Let's flip over to... I'm in YouTube. This is the album cover from Lionheart, and we're just going to listen to a little bit of it. And the first thing I want you to notice is the Weimar style, the kind of 1910s, 20s, 30s German theatrical style.
Down in the cellar. Into my glass of wine, and I don't want any coffee, hit the Homeground.
I'm going to stop there for a moment. First, to check for my husband to see if there's anything wrong with the audio that I need to fix because this is a live stream. And second, because I want people to also notice, if you haven't already, that she's singing in a fake Germanic accent. So part of her character is not just the story and the melody and the instrumentation behind her, but it's also the accent. So for example, we can go back to the words and we could say, let's take a look at the words. We could sing, down in the cellar, you're getting into making poison. You slipped some on this side into my glass of wine. Now, okay, that's a little cheesy. I'm going for cheesy. Play along with me. But there I don't have any fake accent. I might have a character. Your character may or may not have an accent, but that is a choice you get to make when you are telling a story. So instead, she's doing down in the cellar. You're getting into making poison. You slipped some on this side. So it's a bit of a fakey German-ish accent. And let's let this story unravel a little bit more and see what you notice.
Give me a chocolate. No thanks, just for my diet. No, you're okay. Tell me just how cold. Sie smell of bitter amor. It's a no to your coffee here in Homeground.
So we can also hear that singing style where not everything she's saying is being sung. Not everything has a melody. There are places, again, we can take a look at the lyrics. There are places where she's going, it's a no to your coffee, Homeground. So Homeground gets a little bit of singing, but the rest of it is kind of singing kind of with notes. But there's a freedom in that because we're imagining the person who's being offered a coffee that they think is poisoned and they're going, oh, it's a no to that. It's a no to your coffee. And so we can imagine how someone is saying or thinking these lines and how that translates into the melody itself. Let's continue since we've got another, let's see, I think we're coming up to a chorus. A little pre-chorus. Let's stop there for a moment. When you think about the idea that this character, the suspicious character, not the paranoid narrator, the suspicious character has pictures of a famous murderer lipstick smeared. Now, you might have your own ideas of what that means. For me, that means this person has been kissing that picture. We're talking about the character might be a woman. The woman is wearing lipstick. The woman is kissing this picture because she idolizes this famous poisoner. So that's just, to me, a super interesting little storytelling touch. So, really interesting things going on there, especially if you've got headphones on, because what you will hear, and again, let's look at the words as we go. So, you won't get me with your belladonna in the coffee. So, you won't get me with your belladonna in the coffee. And that showed up in one ear. I think it showed up in my left ear. Like it's almost being whispered or thought or something. You know, this is part of that storytelling. And then when she says in the pot of tea, it showed up for me in just my right ear because I'm wearing these headphones that have a pretty good split. So you won't get me with your arsenic in the pot of tea. And she doesn't have to do that big jump. Kate Bush can do anything. Let's agree on that. But she could say, you won't get me with your belladonna in the coffee. Now, that feels different. It doesn't have the same drama or emotion or desperation. The leap in the melody helps bring some of that theatrical nature to the storytelling. But that's, again, a choice. That's a performance choice. And maybe if you are singing this, maybe you've got an acoustic guitar and you're going somewhere different with it, you can be, "You won't get me with your belladonna in the coffee." But now we're telling almost a different story. What is that story? Is that a love story? Is that a "I miss you" ex-boyfriend story? So her story is much more emotionally charged. There isn't a relaxed sound to her voice. There is a sharp and stressed sound to the voice. It's not, "You won't get me with your belladonna in the coffee." So think about how she's using vocal tones and energy to add to this story.
Get me to hold you want. And your head now goes above.
So, of course, the instrumentation really carries the styling as well. If you're familiar with Kurt Weill type of music, we've got clarinets, we've got a lot of woodwinds, there's a piccolo that's quite loud later on, we've got a brass section, we almost have a little German Oompa band going on here. I'll play you a live version, a little bit of it after, and she did not bring an Oompa band with her or a piccolo player, and you'll hear, well, how did she try to maintain that feeling with a rock band that she was touring with.
There was a plumber's who went a missing here on Monday.
And when you hear that line, you can almost imagine someone saying that or thinking that, "Where are the plumbers? Who went a missing here on Monday?" And if they're really animated about it, you can hear how she's shaping that line after an excited, animated, or worried person who is saying it that way. They're not going, "Where are the plumbers who went missing here on Monday?" That would probably be a very different shape of the melody to get someone who's feeling a little bit more reserved, more suspicious. No, instead, she's going, "Where's the plumbers who went missing here on Monday?" Like, I demand to know. I've got to know this. And it's in the energy, it's in the notes, it's in the lines. And again, why am I talking about this? Because you can do this too. This is not special to me or Kate Bush or you or anybody. We can all do this. We can bring this storytelling in if we feel the song deserves it, requires it, benefits from it.
There was a tall man with his companion, and I bet you gave him coffee in the homeground. Now you're lonely.
So we've got, we're working it towards something. So I want to move to later in the song and just show you kind of where it goes at the end, especially with the spoken German part. So we've got some of those spoken German lines. And again, she could sing them. Nothing's stopping her. But she's trying to use that Weimar style. And so she's saying, "Es schmeckt wunderbar." Wow, this tastes wonderful. And that's the way she's saying it. She could say it differently. "Es schmeckt wunderbar." Hi, I'm being very polite to you. Yes, this tastes great. Thank you. Thanks for having me over and serving me some poison tea and coffee. So these are all performance choices that we can stop and think about and break down. Let's also take a quick listen to a live version. Now, Kate Bush is famous for not touring, but early in her career, she did some touring. And after the second album, she famously had a tour called Tour of Life, and she put out what was at the time a video cassette. And so some people have taken that video cassette and put pieces pieces of it or all of it up on YouTube. So the quality is not that good. And I'm convinced that the person behind the camera doesn't understand that all of these numbers were heavily choreographed and that we need wider shots to see the dancing she's doing. She's got background dancers, she's got a full band, but she does not have a piccolo player or an oompa band. So how is she going to do this? And is she still going to play the character? In an earlier episode, we looked at Peter Gabriel singing Intruder and how when he did it live, he didn't maintain as much of the character. What will Kate Bush do? If you know Kate Bush, you can already guess. And if you don't, give a listen. I'm starting the song about 2.5 minutes in, and you can see what she's doing.
My, you only, and only morning you company. You keep your recipes for the rights to eat. This Western pizza coffee, yeah. Peaches so creamy, lipstick smears, one piper, and the rose gardens. Here, well, you won't get me with a velvet dagger, and a coffee, and you won't get me with your arsenic. Look at me, the whole two rights. Hello, comes
So, if it's hard to see some of the background dancers, but they're dressed in some of that Weimar style with top hats and bow ties, and so looking very Threepenny Opera-ish. Kate's singing, of course, is always absolutely incredible. This is before auto-tune. This is before she was going to be edited and pitch corrected. This is live, and again, it's fantastic. But notice her commitment to the character. She's still doing the fake German accent. She's playing it off in her face as well. She's not just sitting there going, pictures of creepy. No, her face is telling the story also, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago with Mike Mills singing Loser from Arion. It's in her face, it's in her body, she's moving, she's saying torn wallpaper, and she's pretending she's looking at this torn wallpaper in this run-down house where evidently people are being murdered, or maybe they are, or maybe it's just a fantasy or a dream, but whoa, look at all this evidence I have. There's torn wallpaper, there's lipstick smeared photos of famous murderers, and she's bringing that into her body, into her face. And I'll roll it back a little bit so you can watch that again. And again, watch for the face and the body in the storytelling, because that's part of it. Even if you close your eyes, you can hear more of that story when people use their face and their body, in my opinion.
Western pizza coffee, yeah. Peaches so creamy, lipstick smears, one piper, and the rose gardens. Here, well, you won't get me with a velvet dagger.
And the kicking is interesting as well, because I'm no dance expert, but that could be I'm Still Alive and Kicking. That could just be a little bit of Threepenny Opera style staging and Broadway choreography type of thing. It's so many interesting things that it could be, but it's certainly an amazing abdominal workout while this person is doing vocal gymnastics. So let's give her props for that as well. Hey, did you put in the comments what you think about this song? It's definitely weird, but we are mostly going to be looking at some weird, interesting stories in these episodes. My next one is going to be Bohemian Rhapsody. Sure, you know it. Sure, you sing along to it. Sure, you get drunk at karaoke and you go for the high notes and you yell Galileo. But what's going on in that song and why? We're going to break it down next week. So what else can I say about coffee, Homeground. I'm not even sure. I think that it's a song worth listening to, and Kate Bush is just a genius. If you want to learn more about characters and putting heart and soul and story into songs, she is the one. I think another song I'll want to do of hers at some point, one of my personal favorites, is Night of the Swallow. I love the story and the way she tells it. Yeah, it's obscure. It was not a big hit. No, the Stranger Things did not play it. It's a deep cut for those of you who are fans, but I think in the future we should take a look at Night of the Swallow. So let me wrap up for now. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I'm Vocal Coach Debbie. If there's anything that I can do for or with you, check out vocalcoachdebbie.com. I give lessons. I sing on people's tracks. There's all kinds of stuff I can do, and just ask. But hey, give it a try. Next time you go to karaoke or next time you're singing something even just for fun, see what you can do with face, with body, with voice, with choices that you can make that really drive home the story. What is the story you are trying to tell? Tell us that story with every sense you've got. Every movement, everything. Thank you to my husband for commenting that was fun. I hope you enjoyed it too. And if you have any requests for songs you'd like me to do this type of analysis on, please leave them in the comments. I do respond to all comments personally, including the grumpy ones. And I would love to put your song possibly on my future list. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great week and see you soon.